So let's say that something may activate me in the moment. Maybe my husband says something and it super triggers me. And I have enough awareness now to say, okay, you know what, Zach, I'm going to separate myself for a moment. Let me just step away because this is going to get ugly if I don't. Because I have a part that I call knives out. And when my husband triggers that part, knives are fucking out, man. Okay. So I might say, okay, knives out's about to step in. So I'm going to step aside. Right. So then I have enough awareness now. Maybe most of the time we don't have that. And for many, many years I haven't, but I've done enough of this work now that it's in my system. I can see, oh, I'm not going to a good place. Let me step away. So I could step away and I could do the 4-step check-in process. And so the first step would be to choose to check in. And that choice began by separating myself. And the choice to check in is, instead of checking out by knives out, losing my shit on him, just projecting and unconsciously reacting, becoming so blended with the reaction, becoming so righteous in the reaction to a very dark place, which could affect our 6-year-old and affect him and affect the bond that we have. So instead of going into knives out, I can choose to check inside instead of check out. That's step one. And that's when you focus your attention inward.
Which, to expand that space there between stimulus and response.
Exactly, yes.
A tool that I think is really supportive for that is our breath.
Yes.
To be able to respond consciously instead of the unconscious reacting.
Yeah, and in fact, we can come back to this. Let's put this on the shelf. There's a chapter in the book about prayer and how that could even be the first step before the first step, right? So we can get to sort of how you get to step one. That's like a whole other topic. I love that you brought that up.
Because a lot of times it's just immediate reaction.
Most of the time, you're not going to have the awareness. That's why I want the reader to start to do this with small things, right? So let's keep it more simple for someone that's having their own experience. Like maybe they're at work and their boss says something a little bit sideways and it makes them a little triggered. And they're like, I could go off and be mad about this all day, or I could choose to check in. Okay, Gabby Bernstein wrote this book. I'm going to follow the book. I'm going to choose to check in. Mm-hmm. Go to the bathroom, you choose to check in.
Yeah. Or with any other things that we're struggling with in our life, for example, drinking alcohol, and there's this urge from seemingly nowhere inside of us that says grab the bottle and we just do it, right?
Right.
Or pornography, and it's just like you just go straight to it. Expanding the space in between the choice is I think really important here. So we can come back to that.
Let's have a whole conversation just on that, okay? Because that's a whole other level, and I'm excited about this. So step one is choose to check in, assuming we had the space, assuming the stimulus in the space was enough, and we then would do step two, which is to become curious about that part of us that's up. So in the case of knives out, knives out's trying to come through. I'm going to choose to check in and I become curious. Okay, where does it live in my body? It's in my chest, like always in my chest, like rageful. It's in my jaws clenching. My fists will sometimes even go like this when knives out is there. Like I can physically take on the physicality of that part. And I could ask that part, what do I know about you? Like, how long have you been around? And it's like going to be like, forever, Gabby. We've been here forever. And then I'm going to ask the part, what else do you want me to know? Are there any images or sensations? And then I see myself as a little girl and it comes to my mind and I see myself just screaming and screaming because my pigtails aren't straight and I just need to control everything and I just need to feel safe and feel in control. And so I get a little bit more information. I just keep sourcing this information about this part. And as soon as I feel slightly connected to the part with the images and the feelings and the sensations, the third step is to compassionately connect. And that's when you'd ask that part of yourself, what do you need? And in asking, what do you need? These parts are going to reveal the most beautiful responses. They'll say things like, I need to rest. I need to play. I need to ask for support. I need to speak up. I need to be heard. And that inquiry alone offers these young parts, they're little parts, they're young, such awareness and presence. And then the fourth step is to check for the seed qualities of self. And the reason that you want to check is you want to see am I feeling better now? And so you would check back in with your system and you'd say, am I feeling a little bit more calm? Do I feel connected to the part? Do I feel a little bit more compassionate towards myself or the other? Do I have courage to speak up? Do I have a connection, confidence, creativity? And you just start going down that list of those 8 C's and you see if you have any presence of that self quality inside of you. And typically, if you're doing this often, self will continue to emerge more and more and more. And the beauty is that now you have a tool that whenever you think you're going to check out, you can check in. And every time you check in, you expand your connection to self. And as you start to expand that connection to self, you have more and more trust in self. And the more you trust in self, the less extreme you are. And the more you know where to turn. And the more empowered you feel because you're not trying so hard to stay alive. You actually know there's safety inside. And self can help.